Hey everybody, how you doing? I know it's been a little while since I've done a live stream. Been just trying to live my life instead of documenting the organized stalking and harassment that I've dealt with since I realized what it was in May of 2017. And so I'm doing that today. There have been some different instances in the last few days that have been kind of interesting. Things have been kind of ramping up lately, and I just wanted to talk about it, I guess. We see a lot going on. If you're not following the artist targeted, says, "Hi there, glad I caught you. You caught me, huh?" Anyway, there's been a lot going on, not in the mainstream news because they never report anything of value. We have to do all of our digging and research on our own from citizen journalists, and there's been a lot of news within that community coming out, talking about indictments, different operations going on that, again, the mainstream news won't report, like Operation Legend. And I just saw a really interesting one today that is awesome, because Arizona has, as much as I love this state, the topography of it, the weather, not so much in the summer, but there's a lot of good things about Arizona. It's a beautiful state, but there's a lot of terrible things that have been going on here for a long time, like trafficking of humans, drugs, all kinds of stuff. I think it's pretty much ground zero for all of this. Let's just say this, there are a lot of indictments. If you go to pacer.gov, or if you go to Arrest Anon, the Twitter account, Arrest Anon, they have a link on that Twitter account that'll show you, that'll take you to a breakdown of what, I forget the name of the account that did this breakdown, but they spent thousands of, what states they're in, which ones are sealed, which ones are unsealed. And it seems like the closer we get to that, the more chaos ensues with the looting and the riots and the fake news and everything. I experience it personally in my targeting. Whenever something positive is going on for humanity, I seem to see an uptick of the targeting attacks in my life, and I still don't understand why me? Why so much attention pointed towards me? Because a lot of people ask that. Well, why you? What makes you so important? I don't know. I'd like to know that. But here is what was used to target me. Most likely during a lot of things, the Federal Reserve, a lot of things that seemed un-American. But they don't tell you why you were targeted. You get no due process, no nothing. So, but there's a Department of Justice report that just came out. General Barr announced that they're coming to Phoenix, Arizona for Operation Crystal something or another. Awesome. Get those fucking people out of here. The drug traffickers, the human traffickers, the corrupt politicians, the dirty cops, all of them. Anyone that's deep state that takes part in weaponized systems used against our citizens. Anything that's weaponized against our citizens, get rid of them. So glad to see that's coming to Phoenix. Awesome. if I had to guess, I don't know. I wouldn't imagine the Department of Justice would announce that they're coming here to get rid of all of the meth trafficking and then just go after meth traffickers, because then they would take off. So they might be going after somebody else. Hopefully they're going after everybody. But like I said, from the time I woke up this morning, a lot of the things that I have experienced over the last 3 years, like I said, kind of go in waves. Sometimes they'll settle down. Sometimes it'll get really bad. There will be a lot of gaslighting, a lot of like robot calls. Yesterday I got like 10 calls while trying to sleep from all over the United States. Just nobody calls me. But no, there's no one that calls me. So I get all those calls, get a lot of noise campaign, a lot of horn honking around the house, in a really quiet neighborhood. We're in the very back of the neighborhood. A lot of cars pulling up at all different hours of the night, parking in front of the house with the lights on, people waiting outside for me as I leave the house, and then as soon as I pull away, they pull away and get behind me. I get to my house, they follow me back to the house, pull in front of the house and park there. People following me into stores, just all kinds of gang stalking type of activities. And if you haven't been through this this type of psychological torture, it's hard for you to understand. I understand if somebody that hasn't experienced this would question somebody like, why would they do all of that? It's about money. It's about funding compartmentalized groups with the problem, reaction, solution paradigm. So they basically, in order to keep their job, pretend there are more bad guys than there are, and then they stalk and harass basically anyone that's been put on these lists. And as you know, General Flynn was most likely targeted through FISA, George Papadopoulos, Carter Page. A bunch of people have been targeted that are not criminals, but are people that are journalists, whistleblowers, victims of child trafficking, somebody that maybe that worked for a corrupt corporation, saw that the corporation was corrupt and said something. Those type of people will get targeted. There's all kinds of different people that were thrown on these lists for profit. So we'll be able to, I'm pretty sure, unless this is the biggest psyop that's ever been run in the world, I'm pretty sure that we'll be able to get that confirmation, that information soon. I mean, there's already people being arrested for it. There's 7 executives at eBay who are definitely part of organized stalking and harassment, gang stalking. They've done it to me personally in my eBay store. Done everything they can to try to shut my store down, to harass me. And 7 of their high-up executives were arrested for gang stalking. I mean, that's the nickname for organized stalking harassment. But it's yeah, the head of global intelligence, the head of safety and security. They weren't just ground level, like customer service representatives, which some of those are involved in this too, because they take part in the programs that have been set forth by a lot of these executives. So we're seeing these people that are violating people's constitutional rights. They're violating federal codes, U.S. Code 18, Section 241 and 242, deprivation of rights under color of law. 2261 is stalking. Is it 2261 or 2260? It's hard to keep them all straight sometimes. Those type of people who are doing this are slowly being taken down, and there's so many of them that it's tough for them for the good guys, the white hats, to do this all at once. Thankfully, all communications, I never thought I'd say this, but it's the only way they can stop this. All communications have been intercepted. Metadata, when people send photos, videos of people that are gang stalking, can be tracked, and then algorithms can be used to basically collate all of that information and indict the responsible parties. So and I feel like I've been a big part of documenting and reporting a lot of the corruption, the violations of our Constitution and all these federal codes over the last 3 years, and some people are very upset with me. Very bad people that are going to go away for a long time, or even worse for them, are pretty damn upset with me. States and the people of the United States to defend our freedom. And I never thought that this was the way that I was going to have to do this, but turns out that's what I'm doing. Don't get paid for it, get attacked for it, lost everything, monetary, all of my assets, don't really have anything left, lost my home in California, lost my nice car. So yeah, there's a lot of ways that they can take things away from you and make your life miserable. But you know, hey, I just think of it as I'm on a deployment, right? And I'm doing what I swore I would do. So, but yeah, today's been pretty interesting. Let's see, maybe I'm doing this live stream while I'm trying to get some work done. Here, I'll bring you all with me. All right. Let's go to work with Mike Day. I'll check out the questions here in a minute. Getting a trailer today. So I'm try to have a garage sale, and I was out of it so I can have a garage sale tomorrow, which I try not to talk about what I'm gonna do, so there's no heads up ahead of time, so I can just try to live my life. And it's very coincidental that anytime that I try to do something like this, that everybody wants to call me that day. I get called in for random things, like, as some of you know, when I started reporting the organized stalking and harassment, when I tried to report it to the police in in December, first week of December 2017, I'd only been documenting this for yeah, about a month, and they really didn't like that because people hiding in the shadows don't like light. So I tried to report this to a police officer. I put it on camera, and 3 weeks later I was arrested, set up and arrested by a guy named well, it was the Avondale Police Department took part in this, but the individual that actually was a former police officer, his name was Russell Roberts, was doing some stalkerish kind of things, and I followed him out of the store to get the information on his truck so I could give it to a private investigator. And then the guy called me a faggot and a gun on me, and then followed me to my house. Kids were sleeping, and as I left the neighborhood to get away from that guy, there were a bunch of police officers on the other side of the neighborhood who then arrested me. And I spent a year and 8 months in court with an ankle monitor on my leg. You might have heard this story before. Lost like $50,000 trying to fight through that. Got railroaded in the court by my attorney. Sent a letter to the state bar. Got ignored, even though I've noted the state and federal violations that the attorney took part in by not defending zealously. Work. All right, so after that, after that year and 8 months, I ended up having to sign a plea deal. I really had no other choice. I got lied to about the plea deal. They're going to have to take a psychological evaluation. Then they hid it in the court papers. Actually, they made me sign the court papers before I could even see them. They wouldn't allow me to read them. They made me digitally sign those, said I had to take a psychological evaluation, and put me in probation for 2 years. So part of the terms of probation are I have to call every single day to daily test facility, which just happens to be very coincidental that it's owned by a Rothschild holding company. So I have to call this place every single day, and if when I call and enter my PIN number, which I had to try like 5 times today, for some reason it kept adding extra digits when I was entering my PIN number, and I got called in today. So don't know what that's all about, but you know, the day, and so here's where I'm going with this. I have no worries about that, about testing, but what it does, they send me to the furthest facility. There's one that's about 5 minutes away from my house. What I have to report to is across town. It takes me about 40 minutes to get there. I have to sit there and wait. It takes another 4, so I'm about 2 hours, 2 hours out of my day. That just happened to happen on the day that I need to pick this trailer up and spend the rest of the afternoon going through all the stuff in the trailer to have a garage sale, just to try to make enough damn money just to survive. It's one little, it's like a nick, like death by 1,000 paper. One little thing after another that is statistically impossible to happen to one person. The timing, repetition of this whole thing is what proves it. And that's what I've been documenting. So there's, what person for 3 years, pretty much on a daily basis, not just here on YouTube, but on Twitter, on Facebook. I'm not on Facebook too much anymore, on LifeLog. But if you don't know what I'm talking about, LifeLog was created by the CIA. The day that ended, Facebook started. So I'm sure that's another coincidence. I've been documenting this for 3 years. It's not fun. It's not what I choose to do. I'm not doing this to try to get attention. I make maybe $30 a month on my YouTube channel. It's the time and effort that I spend doing this completely outweighs the monetary reward for what I'm doing. So I'm doing this to put a shadow of a doubt that no person could experience this much bad luck day after day after day after day. People following them, repeating your personal information to you. I've caught so many people on video doing this and proved patterns through due diligence. And anyone that is an actual investigator, has been trained to investigate, connect dots, and show patterns, be able to see beyond the shadow of a doubt that this is something that I'm going through. So all right, let me gather thoughts here and back this thing up. In the fire department, we had somebody to back us in and guide us. This just got to do my. Well, let's see. Did I make it? Almost. All right, almost there. All right, I think I got it. Okay, just about done here, folks. All right. Okay. Here's the next thing I wanted to go to. A lot of people want to pick sides, and they are either anti-police or police. They've turned it into basically Antifa and Black Lives Matter, and people support them seem to hate the police in general. All police, they're like the group ever to regardless of that person's actions. Then let's see, how can I explain this? There's a divide and conquer theme going on right now. This is not the first time this has happened. In history, this is happening again. So, but George Soros, Antifa, Black Lives Matter, and a bunch of other organizations that are part of what's called open society. So, everybody thinks that the police are completely against, and the police as a whole are just going all of these people. Here's the part that a lot of people, because they don't do their own research, think critically, or they don't think in a non fashion. They think everything's black and white. In 2012, 2013, George Soros gave the Obama administration millions and millions of dollars. And then right after that, the federal watch listing guidance was updated. And as Philip Haney told us, who was part of Department of Homeland Security, he was a good, honest Department of Homeland Security officer. Back live, I apologize, my phone was in the window here. And although it's only 92 degrees here, it says my phone overheated, right as I was talking about Philip Haney. So anyway, George Soros gave the Obama administration millions and millions of dollars to update federal guidelines. Actually, there's kind of a timeline here. Joe Biden was the main author of the Patriot Act after 9/11 occurred. So we have 9/11, and the Patriot Act was enacted to basically take away all of our privacy rights. Everything was, mass data was collected. And then the Department of Homeland Security was created. And while it was being created, they consulted a guy named Marcus Wolf, who worked for the Stasi police, the secret Stasi police in East Germany. And the Stasi police stalked and harassed who they thought were government dissidents, people that wanted freedom. So why would the Department of Homeland Security consult an officer that tried to take away people's rights for disagreeing with the government? They also consulted a guy from the Soviet Union. I can never pronounce his name. Yevgenovich. I don't speak Russian, so. Then, with the Department of Homeland Security, they created what are called fusion centers. Fusion centers are centers that disseminate information for Department of Homeland Security to local law enforcement, fire departments, EMS, FBI InfraGard, Citizen Corps, FBI Secret Surveillance Group, who on the FBI Secret Surveillance Group website, they even state on their website that they follow and photograph American citizens without due process, on foot, in public transportation, and in vehicles. And they've been doing this ever since Department of Homeland Security was created. Now, information about those fusion centers was just released. All right, so what's up? About a month ago. So here's how this is going down. Here's what they're doing. George Soros knew that if they implemented Stasi-type policing systems, it would enrage and infuriate a lot of good American citizens. And those people would start to become anti-police if they didn't do their research and understand the bigger picture. And I believe there are some police departments that might not take part in these federal guidelines. I'm not sure. They might not be able to make it and stay open if they don't, but there are some that probably not as much as others. And the reason I say that, there are some sheriffs, there are some police chiefs that have never taken a penny from George Soros. They're constitutional peace officers. And I've seen plenty of videos of sheriffs in different states making videos where they're not forcing their citizens to wear masks. They're not. I can't say whether they're not engaged in these Stasi type following tactics, but I do believe there are still some good police officers. I've seen 4 of them in the last minute. But that's because I'm in Maricopa County. The sheriff, and I'm sure many of the police chiefs around this area, are complicit with these type of Stasi tactics. And Paul Penzone, who's the head boss of that guy that just passed me, the sheriff's cruiser, just passed me, is the person that replaced Sheriff Joe Arpaio. Now, he replaced Sheriff Arpaio. There's a lot of them today. Anyway, George Soros paid millions of dollars to get Sheriff Paul Penzone elected. Well, there were two things they wanted to do. They wanted to get rid of Arpaio because Arpaio was enforcing illegal immigration and being tough on crime, not trying to create it. And they wanted somebody that would be complicit in the what I'm explaining right now. So why would the person that is funding Antifa and Black Lives Matter and other open society organizations that are causing chaos and division, agitation on the streets of these mostly Democrat cities, why would that same person spend millions of dollars to have a sheriff elected and also to get a bunch of district attorneys elected into the system? So what did John F. Kennedy say about how they were trying to take over this country? He talked about infiltration. So what would a bad guy do if they wanted to hide? They'd find a uniform to hide behind. So there we have quite the conundrum, right? Where you want to support the police, you want to support people in honorable positions, but you know that a lot of those positions have been infiltrated. So how do we weed out the wheat from the chaff? Unfortunately, it's with the same weaponized systems that were created to enslave us. I believe those systems are being used by, we'll just call them the white hats, those guys, the good guys. Those systems are being used against the people that have infiltrated these honorable positions. And I've noticed that a lot of people that are in some of these positions are being removed. Some are resigning. I've noticed Rochester, New York, I believe it was, the entire command staff just resigned. And it's like they're trying to make it look like, oh, we're just not getting any support. We don't feel safe. The command staff doesn't go out and police the streets. The ground level officers do. The sergeants, the patrol officers, they're the ones that go out and police the streets. There's police officer number 6. Just since I left this storage place to go get my trailer. I don't really think that's the case in a lot of situations. A lot of these officers are being given word either by open society saying, hey, it's time to step down, let's let the gang stalking civilian brown shirts take over, or they're being told by the white hats, the Trump administration, you're no longer going to be serving in this capacity anymore because you are not a constitutional peace officer, you are a weaponized system enforcement officer. And yeah, I think that's all I have to say about that right now. But that's these Soros-backed, federalized weaponized systems against good people are being carried out right now. And the more that they do this, actually, the more that they just make themselves complicit. I think that's part of the plan, is to just allow some of these people to continue doing some of the things they're doing, just to prove beyond the shadow of a doubt that they are complicit, and then it'll be easier to indict them. I get messages in covert ways that half of the people listening wouldn't even believe. If you're a targeted individual and you go through this whole thing, you'd believe it. But look at this guy. Well, I'm not going to aim my phone at him. He's just a kid. Standing there with his bike in the middle of it. Anyway, it's just a distraction. Yeah, so that's where we are right now. And now, and a lot of my research and connecting dots, networking with people, getting more and more information, the more I hear that something positive is actually going to happen on 9/11. And in my experience, anytime something positive for the white hats is going to happen, it gets really chaotic for me personally over here. So I'm sure I'm not the only one. There are a lot of people that are experiencing the same thing that I am, very similar. And those people are probably experiencing an uptick in the stalking and harassment, chaos, the agitation, all that. Come on, buddy. So I'm gonna head inside here, and then I'm gonna check some of the comments. And try to answer a few questions here. Oh, first I need to do this. All right. So this is basically a war that we're in right now, and there's certain ways to wage war against a society without ever firing a shot. Even though there have been shots fired, bullet went through my back window a little over a week ago. All right, let's see. Put this here. All right. Willis, there. All right, you guys can hang out with Willis for a second. I gotta do something. Oh, Willis, where'd you go? I thought you were keeping everybody company. All right, let's check out some of these comments, and then I need to get to work. I've got some stuff I have to do today. That's why I take you guys with me when I go do stuff, because I'm trying to time manage and make it through this whole nonsense thing that I'm going through, and still try to get a few things done. All right, the lighting's terrible in here. There we go. And yes, this house is huge. When I moved in here, I rented it for $1,200 a month, and been stuck here ever since. So, anyway, all right, let's go through these. Oh, I also shared a video of an officer this morning. If you go to my Twitter at Michael Barden 8, MICHAELBARDEN number 8, I shared a video of a constitutional peace officer. I shared his video before, it was a couple months ago, I think, and he was talking about not violating people's rights. So apparently that officer was fired for making that video. So that kind of shows where we're at right now. Okay, so William Denman, if you're still here, how you doing? Says, I also am a victim of targeting. Fusion centers are a big part of it. See Operation Freedom, Dave Janda. Okay, I've watched Dave Janda's videos before. Dave Janda used to work for the Army. He was an Army officer. Diane Gamber says, it's going to stop soon, Mike. I know too little too late, but relief soon. Yeah, hope so. I'm tired of this. I'm tough enough to make it through it, but I'm pretty damn tired of not living in a free country. Not being treated, not just being left alone to succeed in life and go about my daily business. Artist Targeted says, I totally hear you. Robot calls, dirt bikes, night quads. I am in the country. Yeah, that's part of the noise campaign that I was talking about earlier. They just make as much noise as possible. To agitate you, keep you from sleeping. You can see my eyes. Been sleep deprived for 3 years. Who knows if that'll ever go back normal? And then when your eyes look like that, it gives them perfect opportunity to say, oh, that person's on drugs. Even though you can explain to them over and over and over and over, I'm not sleeping at night. I'm going through this psychological no-touch torture program that keeps me from sleeping. And that's when they start in with the gaslighting and say, well, who are you? What makes you so important? I don't know. I never got due process. I never was informed as to why I've been stalked and harassed by the Stasi police here in the United States. The Soros Stasi. Flat Earth Space Agency says the government doesn't arrest itself, Broseph. Actually, there have been a lot of people that have been indicted. The Inspector General of DHS was indicted. A lot of people in the FBI have been fired. James Comey, Strzok, Page. A lot of people are going down. Just reading here. Someone says, I don't like Antifa or police, so there. Yeah, I still think there's some good cops out there. even after everything I've been through. I've heard them. I've heard them talk. I've seen their actions. They're not all bad guys. There's a lot of them that have infiltrated respectable uniforms, and that's one of the things we're having the toughest time with right now. Donald Trump calls people dirty cops. John D'Souza has explained to me in person and in interviews about dirty cops that he's encountered. One of them that tried to get him shot, John D'Souza is a former FBI agent, special agent, 25 years, retired, and he was on a stakeout, and one of those police officers tried to get John shot. That was an interview with Laura Eisenhower, I believe. All right. There's a lot of comments here. I'm sorry I'm going to miss a few. I need to get going. I really have to get to work. I have a lot to do today. Hey, look at that. It's 1:11. All right, everybody. Thanks for checking in with me, going with me to go to work. And I hope you have a good day. And keep an eye on my YouTube channel and my Twitter account. If you don't hear anything from me, you know, if I just kind of disappear, maybe send somebody out looking for me. All right. Everybody have a great day and be safe.